And we're back once again with Finals Hype. Everybody ready? We got new teams. Team Momentary has been showing off today, showing the fact that they're wanting to make 2017 their year.
Yeah, their King of the Hill play has been absolutely solid, and as far as we've seen, unbeatable. And I really want to see them in another environment. I really want to see them either on like a hybrid map or payload, or what the hell, 2CP. Why not? Like let's get crazy here.
We're gonna be stuck with one of them. There's only four maps left. Temple of Anubis, Hanamura, Dorado, Kings Row. We are getting a 2CP.
So this is exactly what I predicted was going to happen. Doot knew that they need to ban King of the Hill against Momentary. Momentary is going to play that, well, we'll call your bluff type of game and ban out the standard picks. So now
oh my gosh,
it's up to Doot to decide if we're going to be starting on Temple of Anubis or Dorado, but we know the last three maps are Temple of Anubis, Dorado, and Kings Row. So it is going to be Dorado, Temple, and then Kings Row to be our grand finale.
I don't know what this insanity is where we let Temple of Anubis, of all 2CP maps, to get through to the final three. We're guaranteed it too. This is the first time I've ever seen a 2CP actually be played on the Cow Open. The
last time we actually saw Temple of Anubis, I believe, was MLG, and the finals for MLG, and the problem with it is the fact that 2CP is so decisive one way or the other. It can flip so fast. If you get that first capture as the attacking team, and you have plenty of ult charge, you just Lucio speed boost your way straight into the spawns on the other side and just blow them apart with ultimates. So what it's going to come down to is whoever's defending has to make sure that they don't stagger deaths too much, has to try to avoid giving up ultimates. Sometimes you even see teams just entirely go, nope, I'm out, I don't even want to fight that first point. Happens very, very rarely, but you'll see a lot of people dodge off of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that we also have Dorado, which its first point might as well be comparable to a 2CP map, that you have to get through that arch, and it's pain. It's an absolute pain.
I am calling it now. We are going to be seeing a Symmetra. Somewhere inside of these games, there is no way you don't see Symmetra inside of this.
Yup.
Absolutely. Yep. Dorado and Anubis are both key Symmetra. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, Symmetra Torb strats. I put myself a halls in, so excuse that.
Yeah, you've been powering through right now. Like, me and Brass have been taking breaks here and there. It's like, no worry. We just, pull out the whip and be like, get back to doing that play. But
yes, master. Yes, master.
Desk people here. We can only do color commentary, man. You're stuck with us.
I guess that's what happens when it's New Year's and, everyone is out partying last night and walking in slowly this morning. So we are going to be going into the game now. It is going to be Dorado Momentary versus Doot here in the grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and neckbeards, thanks for sticking with us this long. Thanks for putting up with me this long. And I believe it's going to be myself and Matchroom casting this grand finals.
Oh yes, it's you and me back again.
It's the birth, the second birth, the second coming, the resurrection of the gods.
Tag team back again. Check it directly. Let's begin. Yeah. That's the way we're getting going with this.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm showing my gray hair now. I'm going back and throwing down some like 90s references to go into this. I just can't help it, dude. I love Dorado, and I'm really excited to see these teams play. We've seen some great play from Momentary, and I'm just happy to see Doot coming out. And oh yes, we're getting started with the potential to wait. Never mind. Doot's going to be attacking. Why are you toying with my feelings, Doot? This is not a way to start our relationship of casting you.
So it is interesting. Doot, like you said, is going to be in the red here, and it is going to be Momentary in the blue. We are accustomed to seeing them in the blue trunks here. And the average SR again for Momentary is 4130. And here's something interesting. Ready? The average SR for Doot is 4338.
Numbers have been being pretty effective so far. I know that means that we might have to maybe Blizz's matchmaking is kind of okay. So we can't acknowledge that. We're just going to say that this is going to be an amazing final. And I'm just excited to say Doot a whole bunch. Now, just giving everybody a heads up, Doot consists of Nitrogen, Deadly, Clone Man 16, Moth, Majesty, and Trevorius.
And you all know the players are Momentary, but I am gonna quickly call out that Icy-Lot is not playing the Lucio, he is playing the Symmetra, and he's already got 50% charge on his ultimate, or one of 2 ultimates.
This map just feeds for Symmetra. I mean, there's so many points that you can put down, all the turrets, just to get the charge so fast. This archway is so hard to push through just in general. It's like this map is built for new Symmetra.
Yeah, and if they can get through this archway of doom, they'll be able to successfully push on as best they can. Cloneman16 going for a big charge. He's now away from the rest of his team and completely cut off, but he somehow makes it back. I'm not sure how Momentary let that happen. Cloneman16 actually taking out Jake, and Smez trying to stay alive here on the backline as he's being chased by Nitrogen, the other diva. Deadly here on the Pharah, completely pushing the team back. So Momentary is going to have to give up this archway of doom.
Yeah, and I think that the cart's going to make it. We saw the fact that the Symmetra teleporter went down, but there just wasn't time. The cart made it all the way to the point. If you guys didn't know that, that pushes the, whenever you lay down any of the Symmetra ultimate defense abilities, they just populate back whenever a point stays. So it's just a wasted placement.
Yeah, the question now is he going to be switching off, and he is. He's going to be switching on to the Zenyatta Matchroom, and I think that was a wise decision. No real good places to put his turrets and to place teleporter or shield gen really at all at this point.
Well, you see the fact that Zenyatta is so effective against Pharah. You just throw the Discord Orb, and all you have to do is kind of look her direction, and she ends up getting blown out of the air. So it's really strong. We're seeing the fact that actually Momentary is having to surrender almost all of the Streets phase right now. They're just now getting up to the high ground, positioning some on the defense, and Deadly just got nano boosted with an ultimate.
He's going to be able to take down 2, takes down Jake and Octile, and Travarius is going to take out Dante. This is basically a roll through. Doot is doing it right now. Look at Smez waiting in the back, trying to get himself onto the point to just stall out as best he can, but he's going to have to keep flying as he gets taken out of medic, and Nitrogen is pushing straight into his face, and they're going to stall him out as far as he can as he's going to be going and jumping off the ledge.
This game right now is going to be coming down between Octile playing Soldier and Deadly on Pharah. Octile has to take out the Pharah. The Pharah is just doing so much harass around, getting in so much damage. May not be netting every single one of the kills, but it's just, look at this placement, disrupting the team right now, using the Cushion Blasts. Right now, all of Momentary is having to hide to avoid any of these rockets coming in and taking them. And we finally have Jake jumping in, but just getting hit and taken down, and now we have a full-on fight happening around the payload.
Graviton Surge getting eaten by a defense matrix, and there comes Nitrogen with a big 2K of self-destruct, and they're going to be continuing to push this cart around the corner here in the power plant.
We're going to have enough time for Jake and Octile to come back in, and both of them do have their ultimates, so we could see an Earth Shatter come in, but they can't. They have to get in placement, and right now it just looks like Jake doesn't know which direction he's wanting to come in with it, and he has to get past Cloneman's shield. This is going to be the biggest part. He's got to get in, turn, wait for the Zarya, and get that shield to drop, and oh, he pulled it too soon.
Just a little bit. He only gets down Majesty, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. They weren't even able to follow up the kill onto Majesty. Octile and Smez go around from the side and come out from behind, and they get 2 kills of their own, so they are going to be able to stall it out and force Doot to back up. Octile picking up another kill on the Cloneman16, and now it is Doot's first time that they need to stop and regroup. Man, this has been completely pushed.
Momentary needed this. They needed that fight. They needed the second to recompose, figure out what they're going to do, check to make sure that their comp is right, figure out how they're going to try to address what's going on inside of these comps. And we've now seen Deadly switch off of the Pharah and now over to the Roadhog, which is going to make real trouble for that Soldier that's going to be expecting to try to get him. They're going to be going for pulls now through the Reinhardt shield for their picks instead of just trying to fly above all of the shields. This is a very effective switch for this last little push, and they managed to pick up Plasma Stick right off the get-go.
Oh my god. What a huge opening pick for that fight. Taking out enemy Ana is like basically dropping the engine out of your car, and Cloneman16 is going to pick up Octile, and Semez is going to be able to pick up another kill, and he gets taken out by Nitrogen. So Cloneman16, and here comes the ending ultimate self-destruct. He actually picked up Plasma Stake. Where was Plasma Stake that actually got him in the end there? I don't know. But man, what a great and a very, very pretty fast push here by Doot on Dorado. Clearly showing us that maybe Momentary really needed those King of the Hill maps.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've been leaning on their mechanical skill and trying to fight through. Now we're starting to see doot that's coming in, trying to do change-ups on their champion selections on a regular basis. That was such a great switch from Deadly. They had fully comped around trying to take care of the Pharah, switching over to Roadhog, coming around that corner and just getting a pick onto Anna to start with. That just almost handed them the victory there. They were just not expecting the Roadhog to come around this corner. Now the real question is, how well can they play defense? Because we've seen that Momentary is a very aggressive team. It's going to come down to how much stall can they get in this archway, pushing to the first point. Because really, that's what Dorado is all about. If you can make it into the market area, you pretty much are capable of pushing through all of the streets phase pretty cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, very rarely do we see teams that are successful at getting up into the high ground. Are they able to actually hold there by the courthouse? It's not a church. Jeff Kaplan made that comment very clear. A lot of people were calling it a church, and he was very upset about it. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that you're absolutely right, Matcham, is that if you can take the high ground, even if you take the high ground, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to hold in that streets phase. So this arch is going to be key now for doot to hold on defense, and they are also going to be pulling out the Symmetra, and I think that's a very wise decision.
Again, we were talking about it beforehand. This map is just designed for this opening area. You can just place so much stuff down. The real power for Symmetra, though, is getting that ultimate charge. Can you get to 100% fast enough to drop the tool that you need for your team at the right time? Because if you don't get to 100% off of this hold, it's just not an effectual pick. Or you can, well, I mean, the Pharah also did kind of throw them for a curve because Symmetra doesn't really have much that she can do against this Pharah that's flying around. And we don't see that Momentary goes for that strategy. They're following in with a full-on tank composition. They want 4 tanks, and they want the 2 supports, and they just want to group up and power through this.
Yeah, and they want to hold on the cart completely and just go in as a team. Did you notice, Matcham, how far apart Moth put his Symmetra turrets? He's definitely got a game plan going here. Normally, you see a lot of Symmetras place them all around one specific area to get the most effective damage out of it, but he actually spread them out quite effectively to try to slow people down and catch them off guard.
Oh, and that's effective because then you can't just like instantly turn as D.Va and take them all out in one go. You're seeing right now that they're playing very, very aggressive with this choke. You're seeing Clone Man's pushing in really, really deep, so that way it's giving the Symmetra time to build what they need and get their ultimate. They're 90% right now, so they have to, right now, Momentary has to push through this within the next 7%, otherwise life is going to get real difficult for them. And they're choosing to go all the way around, abandon the cart, and come back through the side entrance.
Clone Man spots him out, though, and gathers his team up by the stairs to try to counter it. He gets a charge in, but he doesn't connect with anyone. He's now all alone with the rest of his team, and he gets taken out by Icy Light Nitrogen, I think, going into the back to try to save him, but he gets himself Zarya shielded to try to stay alive, but Jake finally gets the kill on him. So now it's time for Momentary to push in, uncontested, basically, and here comes a teleporter. Is that a teleporter or a shield? And it is going to be a teleporter come up, and it's going to be the enemy team doot coming in, trying to do as best they can to get onto this point and contest, but Plasma and Octile are doing a really good job of defending their card, pushing it to the payload as they are successful here at the beginning.
Yeah, and we'll get 4 minutes and 39 seconds with the time increase on that. Keep in mind, we'll probably get another one as they push through the streets phase. The big problem with it was the fact that that was such a late set of deaths due to the teleporter that we have Momentary is spawning, doot spawning really far back, and they decided to come in, push through the top. This is the proper way to do it. I mean, the cart does get stalled for a few seconds while like all the doors are opening. So they're choosing to come in, like we were talking about, coming in on the courthouse, thanks Jeff Kaplan, and sitting on top of this, trying to get their pick damage as they can. But we are just seeing Roadhog after Roadhog pick coming in with a huge Graviton surge, picking up 3.
Yeah, and then Deadly can just stay up top in the high ground and drop bullets and rain them down from above. He's not Pharah, but he is a Soldier 76, still doing basically the same work. Clone Man 16 and Nitrogen picking up the kills on the tanks, and we're going to see someone just fall to their death, and that's going to be Jake, who gets himself taken out over in the bank. So that is a successful hold in the streets phase. This is going to eat up a bunch of time now from Momentary's opportunity.
Yeah, and that's going to be what doot is focused on. They put up a really, really competitive time of 3 minutes and 28 seconds. So it's going to buy them plenty of time if this does go into overtime. Well, that was time. Overtime, time. I know. And so right now, but they're not really contesting. They're going to wait until this cart gets right underneath the bridge, yeah, and then just jump down. The Clone Man managed to get hooked off, and it's going to be, what does this D-Volt pick up? And it's going to be nothing. But then again, Jake throws down and only hits Clone Man's shield with the Earth Shatter. This is going to become ult after ult, not accomplishing anything, so they're just going to have to rely on pure damage for this hold.
Octile missing a hook onto a nano boost attack visored soldier up on the top. Deadly being able to pick off the plasma snake because he didn't get himself hooked, and that's going to be a great kill and a great opener for doot to keep a hold on this Majesty, getting a kill onto Jake after Octile takes out Nitrogen. But Deadly is still just kind of raining bullets down from above, completely uncontested here. Maybe we're going to need to see some verticality come out from Momentary if they really want to force this soldier off of the courthouse balcony.
Well, that's what it's going to come down to. Smebs and Octile. We either have to get a Roadhog hook to pull him down, or Smebs has to fly up there and boop him off. Although, if you look at it, Octile, the whole team is like, no, we're tired of you guys fighting up top. They're taking a few extra seconds and taking the long way around, and they're going to fight them up on equal ground and say, no, your high ground is now where we're going to be fighting at. And I think the fact that Doot's kind of smelled this out. They're backing really far up. And now it's just kind of a game of chicken. Look at them. They're like, both teams are kind of going to feel where they both are at.
Yeah, I think Momentary was trying to put a little bit of a worry bead into Doot's team, trying to figure out where they were coming from. And a huge ultimate, Clone Man dropping their Earth Shatter, being able to take out Planet Snake up on top of the balcony, as well as Plasma Snake, as they are going to continue to just completely dominate the street space. After what, well, I have to say it, after what you said, which was it's hard to hold in this street space, it looks like Doot is doing a really good job of it.
Yeah, and right now we're only a minute and 30 seconds left. That means they only have 2 really strong fights left in. And that being said, look at the ult economy for Momentary right now. They have everything except for the sound barrier from Lucio. But doot is presently sitting on 3, about to be 4, because Majesty's going to hit Nano Boost right there. And Nitrogen's really close to getting ultimate as well. So it only is going to take a couple of shots from them, and we're going to have a huge ult battle coming in.
Deadly not getting himself nano boosted, but he does tack visor. Is he going to be able to pick up anyone? He doesn't, unfortunately. We're going to see self-destructs coming out from both sides. Both teams pick out one. I think Smez was a little bit more carryable. He takes out the Ana for doot, but Clone Man 16 answers back by taking out Plasma Snake and Dante. So this is just a payload salsa here with 48 seconds left, but it looks like doot is coming out on top, and this was a smart move for Smez to back up now and regroup with his team, as they've got themselves basically only one more push.
42 seconds. If they rush, they can go in, but they have to wait for all the spawns to come back in. This is a really awkward spawn location if you guys have played on a regular basis. It's not a real clear, quick path to get back into this. So by the time everybody gets together, there's only going to be about 20 seconds left, and then they just have to fight through. They're doing a good job. Momentary is pushing the cart, but this is just putting a perfect place for doot just to choose to jump in and drop down back behind them, as they're doing on the Plasma Snake, and that is not the way they want to start this fight.
Octile switching onto the Pharaoh, trying to get something done, but it's not looking too well, as Clone Man is taking out 2, and Smoth getting another kill onto Dante. Nitrogen finally taking out Octile and Jake to end this first game here. It's going to be the first map in this best of 3 grand finals here in Cal Open League. Week number 4 is going decisively to doot.
Yep, and now we get to start walking down the paths of peculiarity. Now we've seen some people, we know one team is strong on hybrid/payload maps, we know another team is good on King of the Hill, so now we get to go to Temple of Anubis.
Oh my god. In a grand finals matchroom, did you think? 2017, it's a new year. Maybe this is the new norm. Maybe all the grand finals for 2017 are going to have Anubis in it. You don't know.
If this is 2017, Temple of Anubis is now going to be meta. I don't know. I'm kind of like, oh my god, is this the new 2016? Is this where we're headed? Are the dark times upon us?
Temple of Anubis, so 2017.
Oh god, no, please. No, actually, I kind of enjoy Hanamura myself. It's just something about Temple of Anubis and Volskaya. Like, anytime... I think it's just because whenever I'm playing ranked, I always just get matched with people that don't know how to play 2CP, and it's just like no amount of like, hey guys, this is how you do it. Do they understand? So maybe if it becomes meta and we start seeing more Temple of Anubis and Volskaya, people will watch and understand how to play on them, and then I won't hate them so bad. Maybe that's what we need. We just need to. Maybe that's Blizzard's master plan. Everybody has to play Temple of Anubis more, and everybody will get comfortable with it, and then it won't be so bad.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think either of these teams expected going into this to be having to play Temple of Anubis, but, you know, this is what happens when two teams try to bluff each other into maps that they think the other team won't ban out. They ended up getting stuck with it. So now we are going into game. Now Doot is up 1-0, and the colors are going to switch here. Doot is now in the blue. They're going to be defending first, and it is going to be Momentary in the red, trying for the attack.
So if we're gonna see the dirtiest of combos, which is the Symmetra and Torbjorn, I think that we'll probably see it on this map. I wouldn't call it meta yet, but a lot of people really do enjoy the comp, and it's because essentially you end up with about an extra player and a half just because of all of the turrets. And there's just so much good turret placement and defense here. I mean, we might see people lean into tanks just because that's what everybody understands. That's what everything is staple. But we'll probably see some peculiar picks coming through with this. Like, we have Dante that's maybe taking a look back on his Genji.
Well, they are on attack, which means they do get to troll us as best they can. Octile on the Widow right now. Will he stay? That's a question. I have seen Widow very effective on this map.
It's not uncommon to see Widow make appearance on 2CP. There's a lot of long sight lines just due to how these maps are constructed. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays. I'm not going to be hoping for it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Octile seems like he has some pretty amazing aim, so if anybody's going to be playing it, it wouldn't surprise me if it's Octile.
Yeah, and he's definitely showing us a deep hero pool. He was playing Pharah, playing Soldier, he was playing Mei, he was playing Tracer, he was playing Hog. Now he's playing Widow. We're adding it right to that pool. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing. As we're going to be starting out now, 6 seconds left, and I don't see him switching off. So maybe he's going for an opening pick. Maybe he's going to be the king that holds Anubis together. We'll find out as this game is starting out.
And we are getting a Genji Widowmaker to start off with. We wanted to see randomness. We were starting to see a little bit of it. Let's see if we can make this effective. And Moth says no. Lucio gets the kill on a Widowmaker.
Powerful Nitrogen goes straight in with a defense matrix up there, but Moth ended up getting the kill, but he gets taken down by Dante. That's revenge. Dante pulls out the sword, but then he gets it crushed by Clone Man 16 and his giant hammer. So Nitrogen is going to pick up the kill onto Icy Light. So it looks like a first push, first hold now for Doot as they're going to have to regroup and try again. Momentary. I don't know.
Just died, man. That is such a long spawn stagger. That's going to cost them like at least a good 20 seconds that they could have had. Like just now spawning in, still having to run back into where the fight's at. I do kind of like this idea of switching to Winston to see what can happen with it. Throw down the shield, maybe trying to allow for some pathing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Octile staying on the Widow, it didn't work out initially. Maybe he's hoping that they'll forget about him and keep playing, or maybe he's hoping that he'll just stay behind his team this time and not get Nitrogen pushed by D.Va. But Clone Man turns right at that second to block a shot from Octile. He gets himself hit with a Fire Strike. Trevorius going to be able to take out Dante, and this is now not looking good for Momentary as they get losing a Symmetra again by Moth. Moth is the, I think, the secret killer here of this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going full DPS Lucio right now. I don't know if he's hitting a lot of shots from quite a long range. But, I mean, you have to give it to Momentary. They did realize the fact they were losing the fight, managed to jump out. I think this is a little bit more logical from Jake. I know what the strategy was with the Winston. Jump in, draw everybody's attention, allow the Widowmaker to become useful. So they decided to switch over to Reinhardt and Tracer to be a little bit more in your face and provide more cover for the team and provide a little bit more like survivability for Octile to go in and jump. But here goes a huge team ultimate. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to get away from all that. That was a great job by trying to shield that out.
Yeah, Jake got himself charged in, so he wasn't able to block it, but the rest of his team was able to escape. And Dante coming in with the Dragon Blade Nano Boost, taking out 3. Is he going to be able to pick up one more in the back line? We'll find out as Deadly takes out Octile while all this is going on. But Plasma Snake comes in and takes out Deadly. So now it's a single person for Doot on point A, and now they're going to have to hold point B, which is, well, of course, the spawn advantage for them, and it's the easier one to hold.
Yeah, we're about to see a huge time increase. That's the one thing about these maps that's really peculiar. You went from 1 minute and 20 to 5 minutes and 20. It's just such a big turn.
It's a 4-minute push now, which I think is way too much for this, especially, well, I don't know. I look at it from both ways. If they don't win it on the first point, it's going to be very hard for them to take it after a second push.
Yeah, and that was just a great placement for Graviton Surge. We've already seen tanks go down. We've already seen the Dantes still trying to hold out, still trying to do some damage back there, but I think we've lost. But at this point, Momentary just needs to realize that they're not going to get this point. Try to make it back out. Don't try to beat ultimate. Smez, just fly away. Yes, fly away.
He's getting chased down by Nitrogen. Is he going to be able to get the kill? And then he got slept. Keep him there. Nitrogen, unfortunately, doesn't get the kill. Cloneman picks up one onto Octile, and now it is going to be a reset here on point B of Temple of Anubis, which we all know is going to be a long battle. A long, drawn-out, spawning, staggering, trickle battle.
But look at these ultimates that we now have from Momentary. We have the Genji Blade, we have the Tracer Bomb, and we have the Diva Bomb, all that can be thrown into this. If they play their cards right, this has the ability to do a full team wipe, which is what you have to do for Temple of Anubis. They're just got to position themselves in just the right way, and building up Earth Shatter and Hero Boost is a good way to go in. But now the other team has built up so much ultimate, they have a May getting ready to go on.
Smez getting a kill, Octile taking out one as well, Dante, but here comes the Blizzard on the point from Deadly. He's got to stall out, but he gets himself taken out. This is not looking good. This is going to be at least 1 or 2 checkpoints here. It's going to be 2. The question now, can Cloneman make it in time to stall for the rest of his team? And I don't know if it's going to happen. He gets countered. Jake gets pushed out. Cloneman finally picking up the kill onto Jake, but Octile taking him down. This is not looking good for Doot for point B hold. Until it is.
Asleep on the maze, and they managed to get the grenade off on her, so her going into the barrier doesn't actually provide her any more health. They're having to back off a little bit, but man, that was a strong push. That gives them 3 minutes to just have to get 1/3 of the control. That's 2 chevrons down.
Now all they need to do is get one basic team fight win. The question that I would love to see is if they switch to a Mercy to hold this point, because you get the team wipe, you get a Mercy res built up. I mean, that's basically the whole team fight wasted.
Mercies are super strong on 2CP. It's just the fact that she has so many hiding locations. You can kind of choose to lose the fight and let them blow all their ultimates. And right now we have a pretty big dance that's going on, right on the point as we're talking right now.
Smez getting a kill on Travarius to open up this point. Cloneman 16 getting a kill on Smez, and we're going to see Diva Bomb from Nitrogen on the point take out Dante, who's on the Genji. So it is going to be another successful hold with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left on the clock. It is still a long way away from calling this map. There's still another side, but if Doot do successfully hold this and successfully take the next point, well, they'll be able to call themselves Cal Open League number 4 victors. But still anyone's game, Matchroom.
This is an interesting point. Right now we're at 2 minutes left, and look at the amount of ultimates the Momentary has. We're about to have a full team of ultimates to go in here. So that means the fact that this next fight is going to decide. If they use all of their ultimates, they're not going to have time to recharge them all.
And they come in strong. Smez coming in with a Diva Bomb taking out Travarius, and Cloneman 16 getting taken down by Octile. Meanwhile, in the back, Dante got slept with his Dragon Blade. He is going to be able to take out Majesty after he wakes up. Moth getting the kill on the Plasma Snake, but it's not looking good, and that's right, folks. That is a 2-point capture. 1 minute and 33 seconds left on the clock in case Doot does the same. So here we go. It's Temple of Anubis, map number 2, as now Doot's attempt of attack.
Oh man, they're trying to make me like Temple of Anubis. That was a really good map. Both teams were playing very intelligent. They were you had Momentary that was trying to build as much ultimate charge as they could to go for those full wipes. I actually kind of like your idea. We're going with the Mercy, leaning into that, knowing the fact that you're probably going to get team wipe, and just pray that your Mercy can hide from all of these big, huge explosions that are going to be going off.
Yeah, you got to try to just bait out as many ultimates as you can. If they baited out the Diva Bomb and then the Dragon Blade and just accepted their loss there, the res could have come in with just enough time that they could have woken up and at least fought off that last push. Again, they only had 1 minute and 33 seconds left to hold, so there was enough time to at least build another res that they could have done once again on the next push. I don't know if they would have had enough time to even build up ultimates to waste on the Momentary side, but that's not what happened in the end.
Momentary is leaning on the standard 4 tanks, 2 supports that have been getting him here, but we can see a little bit of play that's happening on Doot's side. We see a potential Pharah, we can see a potential Hanzo. These might not be troll picks, these might actually be logical picks for this map. A lot of talk has been going on about the fact that Hanzo's really strong into tanks. As long as you manage to get your arrows through the Diva self-defense matrix, he's very, very strong. But the problem with him, with both Pharah And could it happen? We just saw a switch from Hanzo to some Sombra. Sombra is rumored to be very strong against tanks and very good at 2CP maps. I personally haven't seen it played at high level enough yet to make 100% distinction, but Nitrogen's just trolling us. Just why you do this to me, Nitro? We are at least gonna see the Pharah coming in.
And I think I like to see the Pharah come in and see if they can jump up and try to make something happen or go through the windows on the side, and that's what doot decided to do. They come around the side, they try to bait out some fire strikes and slow their roll, slow their pushes a little bit. And Cloverman 16 gets himself charged, and Dante is going to get the kill on him. Deadly up above trying to get some kills, but Plasma and Octile are going to shut that down real quickly. A great hook from Octile onto Nitrogen there, pulling it back into the fight, and they're going to take down Nitrogen and Travarius, and they're going to kind of stagger that Divas. It is now a successful hold on the first point and the first push from Momentary.
That was a peculiar choice. I mean, whenever you're running Pharah, you want to use wide open spaces, get up high, and do damage in. The fact that doot decided to come in and go into that small corner room meant the fact that they could take advantage of their Pharah maneuverability, and they're going with it again. This just means that the strength of the tanks gets to show because all they have to do is just hide behind the Ana and Lucio and just let them heal them this whole time.
Yeah, it's Deadly getting taken out really quickly in that fight anyway in Smith, so he couldn't even get up into the verticality of that room, which is quite tall and rained down from above. He just gets taken out very easily and very early in that fight, making it an easy cleanup for Momentary to hold. 2 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock here.
Yeah, I think that they need to choose a different path, like either try to brute force through the mid, or go with like this path that goes into the, like more towards the bridge instead of going through that first choke point to what would be their left. Yeah, okay, I like this. They're making the change up. They're taking a different path to come through. Oh, but the Pharah got blocked by Diva and taken out.
Really, really well done by Smez. Really showing us that as a Diva player, you can completely shut down a Pharah. Body blocking, flying in their face. It doesn't matter what you do. Just completely separate Pharah from that team fight whatsoever.
I mean, it's Sunday, it's football day for some people, so Smez is like embodying it, just going in with that full body block and tackle onto Pharah and just being like, no, you don't get to play with the rest of your team. Now, I'm curious, at what point are they going to make a modification? Because dude, I think that they're just trying to build as much ult charge as they can, and they're getting really close. But they already have just so much ult advantage on Momentary right now. They just have to lose another fight or two in order to get full charges if that's what they're trying to compete against.
Yeah, but they've got to contend with ultimates of Momentaries. It's only 1 minute and 26 seconds left on the clock. By this time in the last round, Momentary had just captured point A, so it is looking like they are doing a better job of defending here than they did on attack, as it's going to be a great job. Here's a Graviton Surge and a huge triple kill from Nitrogen, and Deadly follows it up with a rocket barrage. So they said, okay, now it's our turn. We're going to show you how this works, as Deadly then picks up Plasma Snake, and it's only Smez left on the point, and he decides he's not even going to contest at all. He's just going to fly away and have a Diva showdown.
Did you see Nitrogen's self-destruct drop on top of the heads for everybody that was stuck in the Graviton Surge? It was just resting on top of them, so they couldn't shield it, they couldn't do anything. They just had to like look up and then just explode. It was, I don't think I've ever seen that. That is hilarious.
As it is going to be a battle, they are trying to snowball into the second point here, but Jake and Octile are going to be able to take down two. Deadly and Clone Man coming back with 2 kills of their own. Jake is getting himself nano boosted. Deadly is still flying around in the air, and Octile is nowhere on the point. He finally gets back on, coming up the stairs from underneath the bridge, getting the full health back, but Dante rejoins the fight, and this is going to change it dramatically. Deadly's going to get taken down, and now 4 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock for doot to come in. Put up some kind of a time, at least, to push it into another round if they don't want to go to King's Row.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw the fact that how many ultimates Momentary had to use there in order to regain control of the point. We still have Nitrogen sitting on self-destruct, and we have Moth with Sound Barrier. Whereas on the other side, we only have Danet that's getting kind of close to Graviton Surge. If they play their cards right now, they can come in here, build up a whole bunch of ult charge and ult advantage, except for the fact that Deadly gets taken down. That's gonna push this ultimate. It's gonna push the whole team to have to go into more defensive strategy, but they're choosing to go in on it.
Yeah, Nitrogen sent in a Diva self-destruct onto the point, trying to get someone to fight off of it and push it off, and now he's just trying to backcap it, but unfortunately the rest of his team got put into a meat grinder in that back corner by Momentary spawn, and it was just hammer swings and laser beams and splash damage that took him out.
Yeah, and we're sneaking up on that point where we have 3 minutes and 20 seconds-ish, 3 minutes, 10 seconds. And so if we're trying to build ult charge, there's only about a fight or two left that they can use to build ult charge to do that full wipe that we were talking about beforehand, which means they're going to have a really rough time inside of this. They get 1 or 2 really strong fights, and that's about all they're going to be able to do as far as doot's pushing goes.
Octile switching onto the Mei for this second point hold, and he does a good job. He's got 83% already on his Blizzard, but he gets taken down by Deadly. This is looking good for Doot as they come in with a huge Earth Shatter, and they knock down 2 supports there, but the Graviton Surge pulls them all together, so they can't capitalize on it. Now they're all anti-healed by a great Ananade, and they are still kind of holding this point. Another Earth Shatter coming in from Jake, and a big self-destruct coming in from Smash. Travarius trying to make something happen. He gets 2 kills of his own, but Icy Light cancels it out by killing Nitrogen, and Dante kills the rest of Doot. So now 2 minutes and 16 seconds left, and they used a bunch of ults in that matchup. I'm not sure if it was worth it. They're going to have to really get in their mechanics and get their dry fights and dry pushes done.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Nano Boost and they have the Graviton Surge, but those two don't necessarily synergize all that great together unless you're going to throw the Nano Boost on, say, the D.Va. D.Va's getting close. Nitrogen's D.Va is getting close to having ult, but give them about another 5 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if they use the Graviton Surge for an initiate to follow it up with the D.Va self-destruct. And that's what all of the bread in the basket right there. That's what they're going to try to use to get this point, because they don't have time for another ult.
Deadly switching off of the Pharah and on to the Mei, trying to get some kills, and Nitrogen, just as you said, into the Graviton Surge. Excellently well done, drops that right in their heads, and they're going to be a full wipe. And now with the Mei, they're able to wall off the team members of Momentary, and they're going to be able to hold this. I think they're going to get this full cap. 1 minute and 19 seconds left, just about 15 seconds less. Excuse me. About 15 seconds less than Momentary has, so we're going into another round, and Doot is not out of this fight yet. Momentary's not out of the fight either. It's still anyone's map.
But look at these times. It's 1 minute and 30 to 1 minute and 20 to push the first point on a 2CP map.
It's a 1 push.
You get 1 push. Maybe if you're super lucky, Momentary might be able to get 2, but it's... I don't know. We might be seeing a tie the way that these two teams are playing. This is where you have to just throw all your cards on the table, go crazy, bring out something, like bring out the super aggro comps, bring out something unexpected to try to get this win, because you have to get it fast, and that is notoriously hard to do on 2CP because of the way that these maps are designed. It just gives the defenders so much area to play with and how to choose where they want to fight at.
So the question becomes then, do you think if they draw out at Anubis that Momentary has the advantage going into the 1 map King of the Hill tiebreaker?
Yeah, and that's going to be very peculiar, because that was the one thing that it seemed like Doot was trying to avoid, was going into King of the Hill tiebreakers, which means that Momentary, that kind of leads into them. If they can just, even if they don't take this point, Momentary has shown the fact that they really enjoy playing King of the Hill, so this actually might play into their favor.
Yeah, I think if anything, they actually have the advantage going into this draw, especially even because they have less time to defend. They also have the advantage of, if it does draw it out, they go into the King of the Hill, which is in their favor, as they're going to be holding this right now. This first push is taking way too long for it to determine who's going to be winning. Deadly gets himself in the air, trying to get himself a couple kills, but Clone Man gets taken down early, and 48 seconds left, and now Nitrogen goes down. This is not looking like there's going to be even a single coordinated push by Doot here.
Yeah, they just have to back up. They still have the time to get 1 more push in. They can get the spawns in, but they're going to have to haul. It's got to be Lucio. It's got to be speed all the way in, and they just have to go for it. I mean, they have 30 seconds to maybe try to get 1 kick. It's going to be on Deadly's Pharah and how much damage they can push in before this fight starts out. Because we're at 20 seconds now. They have maybe 10 more seconds before they just have to hard push.
Yeah, and they're just way spread out. Jake getting himself an Earth Shatter, taking Clone Man all the way to the ball, and then killing him, putting him in the grave. Deadly getting himself taken out by Octile. This is not going to be Doot's attempt here, and now it is going to be the first hold in this overtime-ish round number 3 here on Anubis, going to Momentary.
Yeah, I mean, it was a valiant attempt, but pushing into 4 seconds, man. It's so hard. You have to build the ultimates, and when you only have a minute and something, that's not really enough time to build the ultimates that you need. So, unless we just see something crazy, I really do feel that we're probably going to be looking into an overtime round.
I think it would be really smart to run a dive comp here. I mean, you need to get to that point as fast as possible, get some points on it, and capitalize on the kills. You can't slow push the front like what Doot did there. They slow pushed the front, tried to get a couple picks, and they ended up staggering themselves. I think you need to get a rush comp, get straight to the point, and just get the picks from there.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't. You have to rely on just base damage, and using base damage as a tank versus a tank is really hard when the other team gets to choose their cover. So that you have to go with something that's going to try to push in the damage, but then we're in the tank meta for specific reasons. It's really hard to kill tanks with damage dealers right now. So you just gotta go in, you have to jump, you have to get in on those supports and take them out. That's the only option that you can do. Momentary, we've seen them, they like to do this jump in style. It's what it's got to come down to. We might see this, like Octal's looking at a Widowmaker. We might see that. I wouldn't be surprised. I would definitely expect Dante to play on the Genji.
They stayed on it the last time. They may be trying to get that quick pick this time, as he is waiting and delaying, and that was a really good opportunity because there was nitrogen up on top of the cross beam to try to scout it out.
Now, I like this. You're seeing the fact that the tanks are going through that cross room, and then the rest of the team is waiting, trying to choose position. Because Octal's going to jump up here once the fight breaks out and try to get picks from the back side of it because they're not expecting it. And going on Majesty, yes, there we go. We got the pick that they needed. This is what they're wanting to go for, but they've lost so many people inside the room fight.
Yeah, Dante was trying to do the same thing. They were trying to get this flank and get these picks off from the side. It was a very, very good attempt, but unfortunately, Deadly picked up 2 kills in that meat grinder fight battle in the room. So now they have to reset now, and the question is, are we going to see anyone switch?
But it's forcing Moth to have to retreat with Lucio to speed back in Majesty's Ana because they need the full healing quadrant to make this work, which is allowing the fact that Momentary to come in and get a little bit more aggressive. They had to surrender that push area.
Dante gets himself 1 kill in the back, but he gets himself slept. But Octile comes in anyway and gets a pick along with Jake. They're on the point now. This is not looking good, Matchroom. I think it doesn't even matter about going to King of the Hill or not. It is going to be a successful capture by Momentary here to take map number 2.
And yeah, I mean, we're gonna have Nitro come in. Nitrogen's gonna try to do a little bit of damage. We're gonna have Clone Man come in, but it's just gonna be a stall at this point. Yeah, oh, that was a nice Earth Shatter picking up a support, but it's just too late at this point.
It's too little, too late.
I gotta say it, dude. That was all Octal right there. I don't know how their strategy and who came up with it, but that was crazy smart to go in, make everybody turn to fight inside that room, send in just a couple of people, have Octal go up and specifically use Widowmaker to focus down a support or two, and then that means the fact that you spawn closer as the attackers to push in while the Ana or whoever is having to come back in. In that case, they got the Ana. That forced the Lucio to have to drop down, go back and speed boost the Ana in, which means the spawns came in and they couldn't mount a solid defense. And God, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was really hoping it was the one that dropped on their heads, man. That was just, I was like dying laughing. I had to like lean away from the microphone just because it was just chilling on top of a Reinhardt head, and he was like looking at like, oh my God.
What do I do with this mech suit that's crushing my armor right above me? Oh, I guess I'm just gonna sit here and die.
Well, now we're moving into finals in tie. We're going into
King's
round
Row.
3. King's Row.
Yeah.
It's always got to be King's Row. But I have to say, I really actually enjoyed that Temple of Anubis match.
Yeah, it was really good, and we got to see some really good strategy. Momentary, like you just discussed, showing us what teamwork is about, you know, and what outplaying your enemy team is about. They knew that they were going to move over and have their supports basically out in the open, standing behind the shields to protect the room, so they just popped up and took them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's great mind games. And you can see the fact that the whole thing was planned by them choosing to leave the Genji and the Widowmaker behind to go in for those picks. That was executed with forethought. That wasn't like something that accidentally happened. And I have to say, that impressed me quite a bit. So thumbs up to you guys for that. And I mean, we've been seeing a pretty intellectual game from both of these teams so far. I mean, it's not just been like, hey, let's be tanks and walk out there and I'm going to just hook you over and over again. We've been seeing a lot of changes from doot. They've been playing some things that haven't been expected. Like, they're trying their best to make sure that Pharah is seen as super viable in this meta whenever everybody is saying that it's not been super good. They're showing up. They have things that both teams have things that they're playing towards their strengths. And that's what you want to see. You want to see teams synergize. You want to see teams try to figure out the best way to take on the other team, and I'm loving it. This is what I want Overwatch. I want my smart Overwatch.
Yeah, smart Overwatch for the intellectual caster nerds. That's what we love to see. But you know what is another interesting thing that I think is very intellectual that I'd like to figure out? I'd like to figure out how many of our grand finals go to 3 maps, because I feel like almost all of them do. It seems like we never, ever witness a complete stomp in our grand finals. It always ends up being a really good fight, and I really, really appreciate that, and I really, really enjoy it.
Well, I mean, it comes down to there's all of these teams that are trying to make it in. Like, we're looking at teams that are they're struggling with everything they've got to try to get these wins, to get the rankings up, to get their signs, get signed by teams to make the gamer esports dream, you know? And that's why you see whenever it comes time for finals, all the teams just leave everything on the table, man. They'll bring out anything they can to just try to get those wins. And I think that's one of the reasons why we see such great matches. Everybody just focuses in hard because they know these are the things that they need to win at if they want to make it in esports.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we are here in Kings Row. This is the final map in your best of 3 grand finals tonight, and the teams have switched once again. In the red, we've got ourselves Team Momentary, and in the blue, we've got Teams Doot. And of course, being blue, they are going to be defending first here on Kings Row, the regular edition. Unfortunately, not the snowy holiday one.
Oh, alas, and it goes away tomorrow. Well, I guess it's technically probably going to go away on Tuesday, because that's when Blizzard does their updates, it's Tuesday mornings. So you can get in a little bit of time for it tomorrow before it goes away.
As this fight is starting out, Matchroom, it looks like Momentary is going to be able to pick up a first hook onto Deadly. Unfortunately, they aren't able to capitalize that. Nitrogen going in to save his teammate. Really, really smart play there, but Smez does end up finalizing the kill there, and he also picks up Majesty. Dante picking up Travarius, and this looks like it's going to be a pretty clean and easy push here on the point. Moth, the king of the Lucio killing, is going to be able to get 1 kill, but he gets taken down eventually after getting hooked, and Jake swings his hammer. So it looks like Momentary is going to just successfully take point A, as they're going to be pushing into the street space now, and it is up to Doot to now regroup, regain, and try to contest in the streets.
One of the things that we're seeing the full-on tank versus tank comp. What everybody needs to be keeping an eye out for is the Ana bio grenades. Whenever those drop in, if they hit enough people, that disables healing on the other team or increases healing on the other side. That's where all of these fights are going to hinge around. Or they might just hinge on some charges and some Diva ults flying out.
Yeah, Diva ult going into the back line because Clone Man charged into his team, but unfortunately, it wasn't able to connect. That's right, I spoke slowly because it didn't connect, like you couldn't build anything with it. But Nitrogen is going to be able to pick up Isolite in the end there and stagger it out. So really well done, Clone Man using Earth Shatter for that fight, and that was really about the only ultimate that was used.
Yeah, you see a lot of congestion inside the street space. This is where a lot of stall happens. I mean, it's here and it's the very last point for pushing to actually win the map. So it's about trying to get as much stall as they can, and we've got a nano-boosted Reinhardt with a Diva all flying up, but it lands on the top, it doesn't really hit anything.
That's unlucky, and I'm not sure he meant to do that. He really wanted to drop it onto the back line, but it don't matter anyway, because Deadly is going to come in and start hooking and killing, because, well, just as his name says, his hooks are deadly.
Yeah, and that was just a phenomenally good bio grenade from Majesty. Hit 4 people while they were trying to retreat out and just let the tanks charge in and just get pick after pick after pick.
Jake's got himself his own Earth Shatter. He's going to come in and try to get it swinging, and there it is. Earth Shatter for Earth Shatter, and they both grab a whole bunch of people, but Clone Man 16 gets the charge, and he picks up 2 with it, and it's the 2 supports. So there's no healers left alive for Momentary, and they're going to have to back out as they both use Whole Hog. Almost not worth it there for Momentary, as they had to retreat regardless, but it was used, and now it's still a 3-3 ultimate. Like, it's an even battle here, but Doot just coming out on top.
Yeah, and I mean, we're slowly seeing time wait here. We're at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Keep in mind, anytime they actually make it to a point, they get more time added. But every single second, remember, we're at a tie right now, so whoever wins this King of the Road wins the whole thing.
2 Graviton Surges coming down, capturing almost everyone in all of Doot, and they all are anti-healed at the moment, but it doesn't matter. They cannot connect the shots. Momentary is getting taken down one by one. Smez being killed, and then Icy Light, Jake, and Dante each getting themselves killed. Octile trying to make something happen at the point here. He gets himself 1 pick on the Moth, but he gets taken down in the end by Travarius. So another basically 30-40 seconds eating away now at the clock.
Yeah, what I would love to see from Momentary is to potentially take a different path. If you look at the positioning for the payload, they could actually choose to take this top route and just drop down in on their whole team, gaining some high ground on it, but they keep choosing to go through the streets phase and just force their way in. And I don't know if this is going to be effective.
Yeah, I'd maybe like to see a little bit of more flanking action here. Match him, Clone Man 16 getting himself a charge onto Dante, and he's going to get the opening pick. This is making it seem like they are just completely dominating this streets phase. Doot doing a really good job of starting the fight off really well with a pick and then ending them at 5v6.
Yeah, we saw sneaking up on 4 minutes as this payload came around the second corner, like heading towards point 2. It's now 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and it's just we haven't seen Momentary actually find the ground that they need to push in. And I think it's just because of the fact that the way you keep seeing Doot retreat back, and they're using this as kind of
look at Clone Man with this Earth Shatter. He comes in from behind. I'm sorry to interrupt, but oh my god, that was excellently done. He was hiding up on top and gets the Earth Shatter down. Jake trying to get one of his own, and Majesty and Moth are going to be able to pick up some kills. Deadly getting another one, and it is another cleanup fight for Doot.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep taking the same approach path, and whenever you start being that predictable, it's all you have to do is just wait for it. And once you get predictable, you have things like a flanking Earth Shatter coming your way. You have to mix it up a little bit. If you're predictable, then the other team just knows how to layer all of their abilities perfectly. You got to make some different decisions, like try to go back through the this like room right here that the payload's next to. Take the route to the left as you're going to come around. Figure out some different approach path instead of just forcing through this death choke point that they have built over and over again.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that Clone Man keeps starting off this fight the same way. Charge again, getting a pick, and there's another one. Majesty picking up the kill that time. Graviton Surge going down, and there it is. Moth and Clone Man and the rest of his team just completely capitalize on that, and they are just rolling right through Momentary right now. Doot holding on strong in the streets phase with 45 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, that's so sad. That they managed to take down Smez, get him out of the Diva suit, slept him, and then just left him there. So that means in this last 30 seconds, he's gonna have to build the Diva suit back up before they can even fight.
Yeah, there's nowhere.
Such a smart play.
There's nowhere on the streets phase that King's Row he's able to go suicide himself. So that was really, really smart. Again, smart Overwatch for smart players.
And we have a Diva ultimate flying in, not going to pick up anybody. That was a nice retreat for Momentary, but now they're just having to see if they can get the picks. That's what the moment that we're waiting for.
Octile picking up the entry frag here on Deadly, and we're going to see Graviton Surge coming down from Momentary as they're going to finally be looking like they're going to be able to frag out. Now Dante getting his kill, Plasma Snake also getting one, and Octile getting another. It is overtime, and they are looking like they are able to push this now. It's not too sure if Momentary is going to be able to set up for a contest on this point. It doesn't look like they are. In fact, they are just going to wait here for the final push. As there's only going to be about a minute and 20 seconds added to this clock. Excuse me, a minute and 30 seconds added to the clock now for Momentary.
Yeah, I mean, that was a smart play by Doot. They had probably a feel that they just lost that fight. The other team was going to have ultimates. If they had chose to go in there, they would have been charging into an Earth Shatter, and that would just lead to giving up more ground. So, good idea. I'm just realizing that time's in their favor. Just play it out. Try to win another team fight, and then the game's yours.
No connect with that Diva Bomb as it comes up and over the horseshoe area, and Clone Man 16 getting himself nano boosted. Deadly getting hooked out into Octile, but Nitrogen is there to kind of protect him away as he's trying his best to just boot players off the card and need as much time as he can. Deadly getting himself slept. Clone Man 16 with a huge Earth Shatter. Now Nitrogen, all he has to do is shoot his Diva shotgun bolt into their faces. He gets one kill onto Octile. I think that was the right decision to focus down him. Jake now coming in and getting the trade back onto him. Smez also doing the same thing, but Deadly takes him out. So now Deadly is in the corner, in the horseshoe. Right now, is he going to get a pick? He gets a pick on the Dante. This is huge as he's coming all around. He's going to try to rebreather now, and he's going to go for the pick. Jake getting himself slept. And there's another pick from Deadly on the Plasma Snake. What an amazing pick here. 16 seconds left on the clock. And all Doot have to do now is push and contest.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to 10 seconds, and now they have to push through 4 tanks with 2 supports. They just have to charge, and this is not the way you want to try to accomplish this. D.Va's having to fly up, having to jump in just to get the stall. Graviton Surge going out to try to get, again, a little bit more stall. That's all that anything that's going on right now. Stall this cart, stay on it, stay alive.
Icy Light doing a good job of getting on there, but then a Graviton Surge comes down and protects anyone from getting to the card. Plasma Snake just touches it to keep the overtime burning at the end, but he gets himself taken down. And this is going to be round 1 completed with not a full hold, but a good, very, very good hold by Doot here on Kings Row.
Yep, and so now all pressure switches over to Momentary. They have to make it almost all the way to completing the map. That's the only thing they can do. The way that they've been playing very aggro. We've actually seen a lot of this. I know it's gone back and forth and back and forth. These two teams seem to be very equally matched on how they like to play. We haven't seen any strong wins coming out so far. If you look at it from the time that we saw Temple of Anubis, these teams have been playing back against each other. Like it's just been like it's like a revolving door of, okay, we're gonna decimate you, now you're gonna decimate us, now we're gonna decimate you, and so it comes down to Momentary seeing if they can pull together and get the push that they need right here, right now, because everything is on them. This is where all the morale, pulling it together, remembering that you've been playing for a few hours, sticking it through, and just trying to get the win.
So Doot has their opportunity to attack now, and it looks like they're going to be starting out with a little bit of a Hanzo, and this is going to be the sound arrow, the sonic arrow, and then the scatter to try to make something happen. So we will be seeing in 30 seconds if Momentary is going to be able to be holding the.
Now, we see Majesty's playing around on this Pharah again. Do you think that we actually might see that come out? I'm not buying into this Junkrat over here with Clone Man. I know you're a tank player. You're going to hop on that right hard. Don't toy with me.
Yeah, I was thinking Majesty maybe was going to go Mercy, and maybe we'd see a Pharmacy, but he decides that he's going to just maybe play Widow, the other sniper there, as it looks like there's going to be an opening and a grenade up in the air, and it's going to land, unfortunately, just a little bit too far up top so it doesn't hit anyone, as we're seeing pretty standard comps now. And look at this! Jake getting a backwards charge on Travarius. What an amazingly well-played, well-opening done, and that's going to be 5v6 in favor of Momentary right now.
Flank heart is best heart, man. Whenever you can pull off those like sneaky, I'm just gonna take you down. He manages to hit a tank, push through his own team into the point, and just everybody just had to kind of casually turn and be like, "I'll kill you now." And that's the way you want to start this off if you're trying to get a defense. That just bought them.
Going for it again. He went for it again. Unfortunately, they baited it out because they didn't see Reinhardt up in front, so that was smart playing and smart checking. Now, Jake is going to be swinging the hammer. It's a little bit of a clone shield. It's a clone battle with Shield Man, Clone Man 16, as they are going on. Dante trying to make something happen, and this is going to be a point switch. Clone Man getting himself hooked over into Jake, trying to Earth Shatter there, trying to Fire Strike. It gets blocked away a little bit, but it is still being ticked up now past one checkpoint here. Deadly on to the Pharah. That's a good switch by him, and he's able to take down a bunch of people in the backline as he gets nano boosted and punching those rockets into people's faces.
Man, he is just not missing these rockets. You're just seeing tanks get bounced around all over the place. And the great thing about it is he managed to build up 81% of his ultimate. And Pharah is super strong during the street phase right here. Manages to bypass these hard choke points, these angles, and these hard turns make. And he's got to build up ultimate, and he could be able to fly around that corner and just rain death on this tank team that's going to be trying to defend the Momentary.
Yeah, we'll see if Doot does what Momentary wasn't able to do, which was utilize those flanks a little bit more in the streets phase, because they really had a hard time up until the last fight.
Yeah, I mean, these hard angles are so hard to work around, especially like right now. You see how far Plasma Snake and Lucy are playing back, where they're just trying to get their picks in. But here goes a Graviton Surge and a D.Va Bomb.
And it is going to be a fight in favor of doot right now. Nitrogen and Clone Man picking up 2. Nitrogen still at the front line here as the D.Va just completely using those shotguns to zone out Momentary, pushing them all the way back, and a lot less trouble doot is having than Momentary did in the street.
But nobody was on the cart. They had this great fight, but everybody had bailed off to go chasing after Dante. And so, whereas if they had like 1 or 2 people hanging out near the cart, like their supports, they could have probably gotten this point already.
Sound barrier dropped by Icy Light. They're going to be pushing in, but look at Deadly, a flank rocket barrage, almost basically all eaten by D.Va there, but he gets a kill onto Octile there at the end. Travarius able to pick up another one, and they are still pounding this D.Va and pulling her out of mech, and now they have 4 minutes plus 5 minutes left on the clock here to push through the end, and they're still pushing. They don't even need to go that far. They don't need to complete the whole map. They need just to get through the S-bend, and Nitrogen is going to pick up a kill on the Plasma Snake.
And look at Deadly's positioning, hanging out right next to their spawn, just firing rocket after rocket on their back, and they're just now realizing it.
Deadly finally joining the team, and here comes a self-destruct from Nitrogen, unable to connect with it. He gets back into his D.Va mech, and he's going to go back. There's an Earth Shatter into a charge. They're going to be able to pick up Jake in the end. Clone Man 16 killing Icy Light, and now it is Deadly up in the air trying to rain damage down, but Moth picks up the final kill. Travarius gets a kill, and here comes a D.Va bomb in the backline from Smez. He gets 1 kill. Nitrogen picking up Octile, and it's now going to be Nitrogen and Moth on the card with a little help from Deadly here, as they just need to keep pushing it. They got 4 minutes and 18 seconds left on the clock to push like 25 meters.
Yeah, and they just staggered another death. This is not what you want if you're the defenders. The more and more that these deaths get staggered out means the harder it's going to hold these last couple of meters.
Rocket Barrage coming out, trying to keep people away from the cart and let them keep pushing it, but it was stalled out thanks to Octile in the back line there, doing a good job here, and it looks like finally we're going to see Momentary have the numbers advantage, but a huge Earth Shatter and a Nano Boost coming out from Clone Man. He gets anti-healed, but they're going to be able to pick up 2 kills from that. This battle is a payload salsa that doot want to win. They want to end it right now.
Yeah, and Deadly's made a switch over to Roadhog now. They've managed to get D.Va suit out. I think that they're just going to back up and recoup now. That was a super long fight of just chaining death into chaining death into chaining death. I mean, everybody needs to take a second, like, figure out how many ultimates everybody's sitting on, regroup, and make for this push. They still have 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Doot's making the right call here.
Absolutely, they're pushing in and they're keeping the aggressiveness on. A huge Earth Shatter coming in from Jake as they're able to take a bunch of people down with them, and that's going to be Moth. And now they're continuously battling here. Nitrogen in the back line here. Clone Man swinging his hammer onto Svez, and Jake again just blocking damage for his team and getting 2 kills with that that fire strike. Really well done by Momentary of holding this point. 2 minutes and 54 seconds left. Still plenty enough time to win at least 1 or 2 team fights.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Deadly. He realized the fact that they were losing the team fight, decided to jump off the side, but he decided to hook somebody and bring him with him. That's what you gotta do. You sacrifice yourself so you don't feed the ultimate charge, but might as well take somebody down with you.
He gets it at the last second too, and now Clone Man is swinging his hammer, pushing in, and we're gonna see a self-destruct come out from Nitrogen as well as Smez, and who's gonna be the king of that? And it's gonna be Smez, who gets it from a Graviton Surge help, and that's gonna be a quadruple kill from Smez. Nitrogen trying to pick up a kill while he's being staggered there at the end. So 2 minutes left on the clock before anything else is going to happen. Whoa. Matchroom getting himself attacked by Omnix here in this last battle now, but it is going to be Clone Man who comes in again and protects him and says, I'm sorry, Matchroom, but you're going to be able to talk once again soon, as Clone Man's going to go in with a charge, and he gets himself nano boosted, but he gets himself also anti-healed, and now Moth and the rest of his team are on this card, and they're pushing in. Deadly getting up a kill. Travarius picking up another one. They don't have to push very far. Octile coming in with the whole hog, but it's being blocked by Clone Man, and he gets taken out by Nitrogen, and Deadly is going to pick up another kill. It's only left to Moth to try to, Ice Light to back this up and contest, but it is not going to be. It is going to be the end here for it is going to be the end. Winning victoriously, it is going to be doot.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Matchroom still being attacked here by the Omnix here in the last final stages of this map, and it is going to be Doot Doot taking victory here. Killing Smez is going to get this play of the game here. It's probably going to be that quadruple kill with a Graviton Surge to try to do his best job on defense, and it is. Counter Graviton, counter Diva ult, and there it is, going to be a 4K in the end. Unfortunately, it was a little too much and too little.
All right, well, very interesting grand final with the introduction of that 2CP map there. Even more interesting because of Matchroom's microphone problems, but
yeah,
a very close ending, a very tight ending for the winners of this week's Cow Open. And I got to give credit. Momentary did not start out that Kings Row very well, but they looked like they had a really good handle on what came down to the final push. And then it sort of became, they sort of lost it over the fact that Doot Doot just sort of had more ultimate economy. And Doot Doot sort of, they also owned Kings Row much more than Momentary did.
Oh yeah. In the streets phase, they had a completely, monopoly on that defense there. Clone Man would charge in, get a pick at the beginning of the fight, and then it would just spiral out of control for Momentary there. So I think this was really well done in the ban phase and the mind games a little bit by Doot Doot. They definitely had been paying attention to this tournament going all the way through and said, there's no way we're playing King of the Hill against these guys. They seem to be dominant on it. They seem to want to play that. Let's see how they can do on some type of what people would call normal competitive, tournament maps. We'll get some hybrids, some payload, etc. And they came out on top.
Yeah, and specifically big shout-outs to Clone Man, very aggressive and great charges, Nitrogen, good diva play, and Moth, the Lucio that I have seen the most appear on the kill board more than anybody else. I think Far, or no, it wasn't Far. He plays for Toronto. He's Toronto's Lucio player. And
I'm going to skip. It's going to escape my brain, but we will definitely say that Moth is the Lucio assassin.
Yes, he's the Lucio assassin there for sure.
Lucio assassin. There's not much more we can really say about this. What an amazing grand finals. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you very, very much for supporting the Cow Open and the Cow League. Thank you both to you, Brass and Matchroom, for both casting with me and at least giving me someone to cast with in game. So that was fun. And I really enjoyed being on the desk with you guys, even though my throat really does hurt. And even though Matchroom is robot voice right now. But, this has been an enjoyable day.
Having your glorious visage with us too, and amazing stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, all you nerds and neckbeards out there, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And remember, we'll see you next week. This is Overwatch, and this is Softlock signing off.